Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Star Trek Away Missions unboxing. These are for the brand new Federation expansions. These are for the original series, OTOS, for shorthand term. We have Captain Kirk's Awakening, and we have Commander Scotty's Awakening. Now, I will be doing separate videos for each one of these. So one will be for Captain Kirk, one will be for Scotty. But I wanted to show they're both out at the same time. They did not do like a big box set for the original series or add any villains. I don't know if they have anything planned or not. These are both really cool sets because we get eight different characters from the series. Only one of them I didn't actually know. But yeah, we have Kirk, Spock, Bones, and Sulu, Scotty, Chekhov, Uhura, and then Mr. Leslie was the one I didn't know. Who I tried to go look up because I was like, was this like just an extra character? I guess he was in a lot of stuff, so it's actually pretty cool. I mean, granted, I don't know who else I would have necessarily included. I don't know all of the other main characters, but like the other 7 characters are all ones I think most people know. So a couple of things that are really cool is they have a brand new ability in here called Beaming Away, or new keyword or thing. They have some other little things they each do separately too, so they work well together. But then you can also mix them with any of the other Federation sets as well. There are cards from these sets that are repeats from the old ones, but they all have brand new images. Some of these cards we only have one copy of, and the other copy, if you want to supply to, you'd have to pull from the other sets. You'd have to, if you want both copies, either you have to mix and match from other sets, or you have to buy some of these twice. So it's kind of interesting. I don't mind that, actually. It's not that big of a deal. It just might mean you might have a Kirk card in here that says one thing, and then the other one that has Picard on it. Word text-wise are the exact same. They just have different pictures. But obviously it's going to happen. They did that with the other 2 sets. They've done that with the Romulans, where they shared cards between them. Like the second set had some stuff they only had one copy of because they were in the other set. Just those ones shared the same field. So the other thing we also have I did pick up the other 2 sets of dice. So I have the Romulan and Klingon dice. So now I have dice for all 4 characters. I'm not going to open these up anymore because you can obviously see what they are. They're just the colored dice for each set of character. So before I hop into either set here, I want to look at the new Beaming Away rules. And I don't have to go over, repeat it a second time. They're a little complicated, and I will reference them again when we get to a card that says it. But it says, since both sets have this, it says, when a mission says that your character beams away, apply the following steps. Place a beam away token. So we'll have little beam away tokens. So on the back, you'll say beam away. On that character's location, and on the location of any other character listed on the mission cards. Some of them beam away 1 person, some beam away 2 people. Place these characters on that mission card. This ends that character's activation. If any of the listed character is not in the game board, you do not do the mission. For example, if it says Spock beams away, and Spock is not on the board because either A, you're not playing him, or B, he has been defeated, and he's not on the board anymore, you can't play that card. It's not like you do as much as you can do. It says 2, immediately before activating your next character, or before using a bonus token for that or another character in the same turn, the beamed away character follows the instructions on the beamed away section. So on the card, it'll actually tell you what you're going to be doing. So, for example, here it says, we just mentioned on this box, it started with Spock. It says action. This character and Spock both beam away. Spock must not have activated this turn. Starting with Spock, both characters alternate attack actions in their base attack. The opponent rolls for Spock, rolls 2 additional attack and defense dice. 1 character is neutralized, they succeed. So what happens when you play this card is Whoever plays that card and then Spock both get pulled off the board. They, before the next action, so whether the next action would have been like on your team would have been Kirk, or let's say you're fighting the Romulans and it would have been whoever, Sella is one of the Romulans, then for the next person, not the next character, your action, but any character, before your next action, I guess. So if your opponent has an action, they could probably go, but before you take any more, you have to follow these actions. If a character succeeds, place them back on their beam away token, or the game board on any transporter marked. If they cannot be placed in any of these locations, their owner places them on any legal space. In case someone moved into the spot during your turn, they can't teleport back into a person. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to hit any of the transporters, but you never know. 4, if the beam away character succeeded, they score the card. If the character fails, they're neutralized. So this is kind of a neat little action. So it's basically, what it generally does is it pulls them away. They're doing little tiny side missions somewhere else. But it's a risky thing for them to be doing. Because if they succeed, great, they win. But if they fail, then they're neutralized. So that hurts. Attack actions using their base attack ratings are melee weapons using the character's unmodified attack rating. They cannot use attack actions from any character or card. So they don't get so they're getting teleported away. They all of a sudden get a pull at a phase 3 rifle. Or if they're Romulan or Klingon, they don't get to have their battle with them necessarily. Characters cannot use backup while beamed away. So it's a fairly simple rule. It's kind of neat. So it's a neat mechanic that pulls the characters off. And sometimes it can be your character, sometimes your character and opponent's characters. It might be 2 of your characters, but it pulls them off the board for a moment, for a turn. Which also might prevent them from maybe getting hit with somebody else. Oh, the opponent was going to attack me that turn. Now they can't because I'm beamed away. So it could be a strategy that way. But it also works as a great way to, it's just a new interesting concept. And I think it's because they also handle if the original team was beaming away or beaming down to the planet a lot more and stuff like that. And we'll see what some of those cards are. There's not it's not like half the deck is those cards. There's only a handful, but it is a brand new rule for this. These 2 factions. Cool. And then the backside, just another beaming away. Just double-sided for that. Alright, so those are our 2 expansions. We're going to go ahead and start hopping into them. Alright, so for our first video, we are going to start with Captain Kirk. So Kirk's 5-year mission is to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and civilizations a boldly go where no one has gone before. I wish they gave a little bit better description of maybe what the goal or the idea of the deck was. Because you had versus the other 2 current Federation, you had Riker's team and Picard's team. Picard had a lot more diplomacy, and he did that. Riker was a little bit more straightforward and outgoing. He's trying to get in there and get stuff done. And fix stuff. He's a little bit more all around. So it's kind of interesting to see what this is. Now, I haven't really looked at these cards yet, so I don't know. But we're going to do the same thing we've done in previous videos, is we are going to look at all the characters first, and then we will go through the starter deck, then the extra cards. So here, oops, and we flipped him off already. We flipped off the Kirk. Here's our Commander Kirk. He's got his, it's like a tri-recorder in his hand, or communicator of some sort, and a phaser. I like how the pant and the bootlegs are really cool too. Plus the uniforms are always different. It'd definitely be fun to see someone have painted all these. So we have James T. Kirk, captain of the USS Enterprise. So I wonder if it is just the USS Enterprise, because I know later they have B, C, and D, and I know the Next Generation ones, the Enterprise D. So I don't know if this was if it was later like retcon to be referred to as like the USS Enterprise A, maybe a Trekkie out there could let me know if that's what they did, or if it's just the first one is obviously that, and then they went BC after that, or if there's an A as a separate one. I don't know. Kind of interesting. So he has command ×2, diplomacy, and security. So it makes sense, kind of like Picard. He's got a little bit of just diplomacy in there. Because that's what he does. Is he wants to get down and talk to people. Human and commander says phase type 2 phaser. So all the Federation characters have the type 2 phaser. Attack dice +1, has stun, so they don't actually kill people. But he also gets a second attack called Judo. Judo chop. Attack dice, he gets +2, but it is melee. Also, calculated risk. When first rolling an attack, defense, or skill for the first time before any rerolls, adding additional die and then discard 1 die. That's kind of neat, right? So if you miss with something, you can get rid of 1 and then roll another one. Actually, roll another one first, then discard 1. It's even better. I almost wish it was the other way. Because then if you had like a decent one, you could, but yeah, 2, 2, and 2 for his skills. So he's not like overly crazy in anything, but he's solid, which is what Kirk should be. And I love on the back, we have a little information about that. Sometimes a feeling is all we humans have to go on. My terrible James D. Kirk impression. Captain James D. Kirk became Starfleet's youngest starship captain after being the first and only student in Starfleet Academy to defeat the unwinnable Kobayashi Maru test. He commanded the USS Enterprise for a 5-year mission to explore new worlds, displaying confident leadership and using intelligence and cunning to overcome seemingly unbeatable foes. Definitely cool. So another thing we're also going to see on here, you'll see on the cards as well, is they have a yellow tag with like the little communicator symbol, the little badge, as opposed to the other ones that are red. So that's kind of a neat way to like, oh, these are the original series characters versus the other ones. I'm assuming that's how they're going to do it, and it's not like Series 1 versus Series 2. So I assume if they ever do any more from the original series, any bad guys or anything, they'll do them in the yellow. And then if they do the Next Generation, they'll do them in red. And then if they hit like any of the other ones, like do Deep Space Nine or Discovery or any of this other new stuff, the later stuff, they'll maybe do it a different color. That'd be a cool way just to keep track of characters. Alright, up next we have everyone's favorite Vulcan. Spock. So she just got a phaser as well. Kind of wish he was doing the live long and prosper thing. I think they're generally trying to have the characters more in action poses, because that's what they're doing. But it would have been cool if he would have had maybe like the phaser at his side ready to go, and then be doing like the live long and prosper. But maybe having his fingers like that would have been like, maybe they've been worried that something would have snapped off. But then again, you have thumbs out, so I don't know. First officer of the USS Enterprise, command computers and science. He's Vulcan and human. So he's our first Vulcan. So it'd be kind of cool if we get like a Vulcan set somewhere. Type 2 phaser. Vulcan nerve pinch. Taking action to choose an adjacent character and roll 2 dice. For each roll of 4 or more, place a stun token on that character. These dice may not be rerolled. This may not be used against Android or Borg characters. So that's pretty cool that he just permanently comes with that. Skills are 2/2. He has 3 for skill, and then the 2 and 4 for movement. Oop. On the back side, we get to read about him. Half Vulcan, half human. Spock rejected the Vulcan expeditionary group. Instead, he joined Starfleet as his first Vulcan officers. His logical Vulcan mind made him an excellent student, and he excelled as a scientist in the field of computers. He was quickly promoted to science officer, then first officer of the prestigious USS Enterprise. There, he became friends with Captain James D. Kirk and learned more about his human half, although he's still appearing thoroughly Vulcan to the other members of the crew. Interesting. Like, kind of interesting for these guys. And I keep comparing it to the other set because they came out first. But those ones kind of like somewhat dived into like maybe a little tidbits or lore about these characters. These are kind of like general overviews. Not bad. It's good to know if you've never picked up these characters before. We have Bones McCoy. Looks like there's probably a med pack there. I wonder why it's just Bones. I would have assumed he had a regular first name, even though I think he generally only went by Bones. I can't get to focus specifically on him. Let me see if I take this away for a sec. There we go. Got that jawline. It looks like the actors. I mean, they've done a really good job. Like, they're making them kind of like overly exaggerated tops and cartoony-ish, but they still, I think, did a good job of capturing the actors, which is a great thing to do. Alright, Chief Medical Officer. I think he's the first medical character we have, so it's pretty cool. The USS Enterprise, medical ×3 and human. It's type 2 phaser. I'm a doctor, not a very famous line. Taking action to take a medical skill test. Recover 1 damage from this or an adjacent character for each success. That's actually kind of cool, right? To have a medical character just built into the beginning of the game. Again, 2, 2, and 2, not very high skills. So these guys don't have like all the extra movement and attacking stuff that the other guys did. But again, they're supposed to be on peaceful missions. They weren't supposed to be attacking. But they're going to have some interesting other deck stuff they can do. Yeah, right there. Dr. Leonard H. McCoy. I was going to say, I thought he had a regular first name, known as Bones. He's a passionate and cankerous chief medical officer of the USS Enterprise, preferring human feelings over Vulcan logic, which leads to a friendly conflict with Spock. McCoy is an outstanding physician. His vast experience in treating alien species eventually led him to become Starfleet's expert on comparative alien physiology. That's actually pretty cool. Awesome. And then our fourth and final member of this box is Pavel Chekhov. Pavel Chekhov, sorry. I did say that wrong. I love that he's doing a squat. Like, he's like duck down shooting. That's just really fun, just because it's like, yeah, the other guys are all kind of just standing there. Like, Spock looks like he's ready to go about to attack. Bones is healing. Kirk's yelling into his communicator. Chekhov's like down on the ground, like, I'm getting ready to dodge. In fights. That's pretty cool. So he's a navigator of the USS Enterprise, human, science, and security. He's also the human, and he's a specialist for the team. So per the rules, you're allowed to take your captain, and you can swap out, and you always have to have a specialist as well. Everyone else can be swapped around. So if you have Kirk, you can swap him for one of the other different specialists, and then kind of change around. The Tsar of all Russias. When you can discard to reroll attack or skill dice, you may discard 2 support cards at random to roll an additional die before choosing whether to discard to reroll. Interesting. So you can get rid of 2 of your cards at random. That's the only downside. To roll an additional die for choosing whether to discard to reroll. That's kind of neat. So if like you rolled 3 dice and you're like, oh, I didn't quite get it, you could discard 2 cards to roll that 4th dice. Okay, that was enough to do it versus having to attempt to reroll everything. And then he has basic stats too, 2, 2, and 2. And what is his story? Pavel and I'm gonna mess this up. And Gravevich Chekhov joined the USS Enterprise as an ensign, serving as the ship's navigator. An honor graduate of Starfleet Academy, his scientific ability allowed him to fill Spock's position as science officer when required. A little hot-headed, his service on away teams mixed with fearlessness and willingness to tackle any foe with flashes of brilliance. So that's pretty cool. Got our 4 characters. Alright, then we're going to jump into the cards right away. We have our, actually before we get into those, we should look at our core not that one. Our core missions. And our tokens, we'll look at those too. But then we have our starter deck. So we have our core missions we can do. We have We Come in Peace. Score 30 points if you have 5 or more contact mission cards in your score deck. At the end of the game, place points here. So this is about just, again, this is their Prime Directive type thing. Like, hey, we're just trying to go out, search for people, and talk to people. But on the other side, they have the Shoot to Kill. 5 bonus points for each conflict mission in your scoring area at the end of the game. So as much as they go to talk in peace, they also get into a lot of trouble. So this is kind of a fun little different way. What's also neat is, as far as I understand the rules, you can pick any core mission with any deck. So, maybe these might work with some of the old cards. I have to look and see how many of those had conflicts and stuff like that as well. Then we have some tokens. We have a 10-point bonus, just some extra. We have 2 beam aways, and we have 2 mind melds. So we'll definitely see what the mind melds do when we get to those. Alright, now that we kind of know what we're aiming for, conflict and contact missions. So for our starter deck, we're going to jump in. We have, what's really fun about these cards, and again, I'm not super familiar with Star Trek in general, especially TOS as much, but I do recognize a lot of these names from watching, especially regular media talk about this stuff, is that a lot of the names of these cards are based off of episode names. I thought that's a really great way to do the old card, right? So you have a private little war. Action, this character beams away. So this is a contact and a conflict. This character beams away. This character takes a command skill test, then immediately takes a skill test using the character's attack rating. This character succeeds and scores if they score 2 or more successes in each test. So pretty cool. So that's basically, you go away and you have to try and beat this. So like here they're showing like this scene, like this would be like Kirk popping down to this planet. He's trying to do a command skill test, so maybe his contact with these people, but he's also having a conflict with them, maybe a battle. Basically, if he wins a little tussle with them and talks to them diplomacy style, like then he scores 20 points, right? But on the other hand, if he fails, then he gets neutralized. He gets beamed back and he's all beaten up. So we have adjust phasers. That's a lot of red shirts. Take a security skill test at the command terminal in the armory. If you score 2 or more successes, score this card. Bonus, your phaser weapons may reroll 1 die when targeting an android, Borg, or silicon lifeform character. So you have a new type, silicon lifeforms. And we'll definitely see on them. The arena with the Zorn, I believe. Your commander and a hostile commander beam away. Remove all tokens and restore all damage to both characters. Starting with the hostile commander, both characters alternate taking attack actions using their base attack rating. When one character is neutralized, they fail and the other succeeds. That's kind of fun. It's a great way to, like, boom, I'm just going to try and take out your thing. But it's a risk, right? Because you could end up neutralizing your own character. The Bounce of Terror. Play when your character takes an attack action. Reduce the number of defense dice rolled by the target character by 1 to a minimum of 1. Score this card if the character is neutralized. So you can see there's a lot of neutralizing going on in this set. Devil in the Dark. That's another, again, more than episode names. This character beams away. This character takes an attack action against target with 4 defense dice. The target is a silicone life form. This character succeeds and scores if they score at least 2 successes. Bonus, search for joining with Horta. Yeah, so it's kind of neat, right? Like, you pop away, and then now you get to try and you have to fight against this silicon life form. And then we did have that other card earlier. There was bonus, your phaser weapons mirror and targeting these characters. So if you beat this, you can use that to help out with this mission. Just doing some of these in a row. And we also have joining with Horta. So this character beams away. This character takes a science skill test. Roll an additional die if this character is an empath. They take a medical skill test. This character succeeds and scores if they if they score 4 or more successes between both tests. Bonus, score 20 points if you have double in the dark in your scoring area. So yeah, completing the one, and then you find this one, now you complete this. And empath, which I think so far we only have Troya. In the why do I keep forgetting the name of that? The other series. Holy crap, my brain just does not want to remember what that is. Let's keep moving on. Guardian of Forever. This character being joyous. So there's a decent number of these. I like that it wasn't like 2 cards, right? This character takes a security skill test and rolls 2 additional dice if I'm gonna mess up this word too. Mnemonic memory circuit is in your scoring area. Discard the disguises equipment card from this character to roll an additional die. This character succeeds in scores if they roll 3 or more successes. There's also time travel on there. Yeah, I like those these cards also play off of each other. That's kind of fun too, right? So like we are looking for the mnemonic memory circuits as well as disguise equipment cards. So we have the mnemonic memory circuits card, which is an action. Take the computer skill test. If passes, score this card. Bonus, if you roll 2 or more successes, you may search your support deck or discard pile for the tricorder card. It's kind of neat. Lets you look up stuff. We have iMud. Action, choose a hostile character in the line of sight of this character. Take a science skill test with any or all friendly characters in the line of sight of hostile character. This card if at least one friendly character passes their skill test. Bonus, score 10 points for each friendly character that passes. Specifically in Mud. Otherwise, this doesn't score anything. So basically, trying to line everyone up and hit a couple people at once is the best way to score this one. Isolate pathogen. Take a science skill test at a medical terminal in the biology lab. Immediately take a medical skill test with a different character in a medical terminal in sickbay. If you pass both, score this card. Live together in peace. Interrupt. Score at the end of the round if no friendly or hostile characters other than the Borg drones were neutralized this round. Bonus, score 10 points at the end of this game if no friendly or hostile characters other than Borg were neutralized this game. This is a very interesting way to do that. The Menagerie. This character beams away. This character takes a diplomacy skill test, then takes a command skill test. The succeeding score for at least 2 successes on each test. Neutrons. Score this card when an attack, action, or beam away mission neutralizes a hostile character. Instead of neutralizing that character, your attack action does no damage. The hostile character is not neutralized, recovers from all damage, or removes all conditions. If they were beamed away, they are placed in the mission area as if they succeeded. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. So you can attack somebody else if they were beamed away. Oh, it's just basically saying, like, yeah, the bomb was just that. So it's kind of interesting. It's basically like you can take out somebody else, like, go down and attack them. You can still score the card, but then you're not actually taking them out, so you can still get your peaceful option. Mirror, Mirror, famous alternate reality world. This character beams away. This character takes a command skill. This character succeeds and scores a card if they score 3 or more successes. Bonus, draw 2 points. Although like sometimes these tags like Mirror Universe. Is that going to show up again? I don't know. Maybe. Mud's Women. All characters, friendly or hostile, on this character's mission board must take communication skill test. All characters that fail their skill test are stunned. Score this card if more hostile characters fail their skill test than friendly characters. Score 10 bonus points for each friendly character that passes their skill test. We have Pacify. This is one of the cards in the set, like where it's going to say supply 2. We might only have one in this set. The other pacify would be in one of the other sets. So you'd have to go. So you buy this by itself, you wouldn't get it. But I think they're on the core sets at least. So as long as you buy the core game, you should have the other one. Interrupt. Play before an opponent rolls a die for an attack action against a friendly character. The opponent may choose to cancel that attack action, forfeiting the action. If they do not cancel the attack, you score this card. If they cancel the attack, they score this card. So that's kind of nice. Like, right? Where it's, okay, hey, you basically gotta tell your opponent, like, you get 10 points if you don't actually attack me, right? But if they attack you, if they do, you score the part. So you get 10 points, but then they're going to attack you anyhow. But at least it gives you an opportunity to maybe not have your character be defeated. It's kind of fun. The Prime Directive. Endgame. Score at the end of the game if you did not neutralize any hostile characters during the game. So this is very interesting because they have, like, the one hand, like, don't do bad stuff, and then the other half is, like, do beam away and do bad stuff, right? And neutralize people. So you kind of have to play around your deck very carefully. Alright, so we have Quick Reflexes, another one I think we only have one of. Interrupt. Score this card if an attack action against one of your characters causes no damage. Again, most of your stuff, most of your attacks don't do damage in here anyhow. They stun because you have your phasers. So if you're just doing regular attacks, it's pretty fine. Savage Curtain. This character beams away. This character takes a command skill test and immediately takes a security skill test. This character succeeds and scores a card if they score 2 or more successes in each test. The Empath. Character beams away. This character takes a communication skill test, roll 2 additional dice if this character is an empath. This character succeeds and scores this card if they scored 3 or more successes. Alright, so that's all our missions for the starter deck. Then we're going to look at our event cards. The Corbomite Maneuver. Good old fun aliens from way back when. Play before an opponent rolls a die for an attack action against a friendly character. One of your characters at command terminal takes an opposed command skill test against the attacking character. If passed, cancel the attack and the opponent draws 2 support cards. Extremely Logical. Play before rolling a dice for a science skill test, roll 1 additional dice. This skill test is part of an illusion mission, roll 2 dice instead. And there's a bunch of illusions in there. He's Dead, Jim. Play when a character is neutralized. Take a medical skill test with a friendly character that is either adjacent to neutralized character, or if they have beamed away, adjacent to the beamed away token or a transporter space. If you roll 3 or more successes, a character covers 1 damage for each success. It becomes stunned and is no longer neutralized. So that's pretty cool. Because you have all these cards about beaming people away and neutralizing them, and this is a way for you to actually heal them from being neutralized a little bit quicker, right? I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer. Before rolling dice for a medical skill test, roll 1 additional dice. If the test can recover damage to a non-human, roll 2 dice instead. That's cool. And we have a bunch of Kirk cards that are fun. Kirk's Dropkick. May only be played before Kirk takes an action using Judo or his base attack rating. Move Kirk up to 1 space. Kirk rolls an additional dice for the attack action. He starts the attack action in space with a blocked edge. He rolls 2 additional dice instead. Kirk's Ear Clap. Melee played when a hostile character damages Kirk using a melee attack, but before applying damage. Reduce the damage taken from this attack by 2. The hostile character is stunned. So just imagine this combined with, like, Arena, right? You take Kirk, you pull him, you pull, one of the other commanders off the board, then they attack you first, right? They do damage to you. Instead, you smack them in the ear, you reduce that damage, probably don't take any, and then you turn around and you stun them. So now they have to spend their next action, I believe they have to spend their next action recovering versus attacking. So that's kind of interesting. So that way you get a free extra hit off of them. Kirk's Hammer Blow. Melee be played when Kirk causes damage with an attack action using Judo or his base attack. Target attack takes 1 additional damage and is stunned. Kirk's Judo Throw. Melee be played when Kirk causes damage. Attack action, Judo or base rating. Move the target of the attack 1 space, or if the target is a space of the block edge, they take 1 additional damage and are stunned. I love this use of the walled edges, right, as an attack damage thing. Like, I'm throwing a guy into a wall, or I'm kicking them into a wall, they're going to take extra damage. Or hitting guys hard enough to stun them, which is really cool. But what will we have without Kirk's seduction? Play during. I love how all the rest are. When Kirk. And it says play during James T. Kirk's activation. Like, they expanded on that. Taking a opposed command skill test against an adjacent hostile character. If passed, the hostile character is stunned. Or take a command skill test. If passed, roll 1 additional die for each security skill test in this action. We have sedation. Take a medical skill test. If you score 3 or more successes, the adjacent character is incapacitated. Characters are anchored or bored. Take a science skill test instead of a medical skill test. I like that. The fact that it's going to let you do something to the android or boards. We have 1 trait event. We don't get often. We have Stella. So you put this card on a hostile character. That character rolls 11 less die to a minimum of 1. The hostile character may take an action to take a diplomacy skill test. If they pass, discard. Interrupt. Play before rolling the dice on a mud mission. Friendly characters roll 2 additional die for each skill test. So what's neat about these trait ones is basically I have the top one, I can use this as a regular action. To make another character roll less. Basically, I'm giving them something special, something extra they can't do. I'm giving them Stella. This is going to make them have to roll 1 less die. And then they have to take an action to try and get a diplomacy skill test to try and pass this. Or I can option to use this as a full interrupt, and when I'm playing against one of the mud cards, do extra tests. So I like them trait things are kind of neat where you get to do like 2 different things. Plus more card interaction. We have the Vulcan Nerve Pinch. I also like the fact that they're black to kind of match the opposite of the gray, so they do stand out a little bit more. Play before the opponent rolls dice when a hostile character other than an android takes an action while adjacent to this character. Roll 1 die for if this character is a Vulcan or android. These dice may not be re-rolled. For each action or each roll of 5 or 6, place a stun token on a hostile character until they're incapacitated. If incapacitated, action fails. So Spock can just normally do this, right? But then here's a special one that it says before an opponent rolls a die when a hostile character takes action. I wonder why it's just an android, not Borg as well, but I'm not sure. You killed him. Play when a friendly character is neutralized. Take a medical skill test with a character adjacent to a neutralized character or the space they beamed away from. If you score 3 or more successes, move all tokens, recover all damage to neutralized character, place them on an empty space. If they're on a beamed away mission, their mission is cancelled and all other characters on the mission card all other characters succeed. Not bad, it's better than having your character be dead, right? Here's Mind Melds. We did have our tokens for those square ones. Permanent event. Place Mind Meld tokens on this and adjacent friendly character. At least one of these 2 characters must be a Vulcan. These characters roll an additional die for skill tests with specialization listed on the other character. This is kind of cool because it's going to let Spock get access to everybody else's ability. And then as other sets come out, we might get more Vulcans. I know that Deep Space Nine had some Vulcans. I don't know. I would imagine Next Generation had some Vulcans, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. But yeah, that's actually a neat card to be able to do something with that. Set phasers to kill. This card, place this card on the table. Friendly Federation characters gain this type phaser, pistol phaser type 2. Attack dice +1, and it's just no stun. Friendly characters roll 1 less die for all diplomacy skill tests. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. You can get this and now you don't stun guys, you can actually try and kill guys with it, but, or neutralize them, but you can't do diplomacy as well. Score 5 points for each board character that you neutralize, but hey, you're not going to diplomatize with the board anyhow. Then we have some new items or equipment. Captain's Log. It'll be played on your commander's score. Score is correct at the end of the mission if this character has scored a mission this round. The Communicator. Interrupt. Play once per action. This character gains all of one specialization from a friendly character until the end of this activation. So that's really cool, right? Again, kind of like the mind meld, except this doesn't last forever. This is going to let you utilize somebody else. It's kind of like saying, oh, I'm Kirk and I'm Spock, right? And I'm standing next to Kirk. He beamed away. He lost. I can use a communicator to use Bones' medical skills to heal him. Like, right? That's a pretty cool idea. We have Disguises, which was mentioned in an earlier card. Before playing, an opponent rolls die when they target this card with an attack action. Take a command skill test. The attacker rolls 1 less die to a minimum of 1 for this attack. For each success, discard this card. Yeah. So, opponent rolls a dice. They target a character with an attack action. Take a command skill test. The attacker rolls 1 less die for this attack for each success. So that's kind of cool. Like, if I had 3 successes, they have to roll less than 3 dice down to 1. So they're going to fail by a lot more. The Hypo Spray, which you've seen pretty much in every Federation deck. Recover up to 2 damage or remove 2 stun tokens from this or an adjacent character, then discard this card. This character is in sickbay. Shuffle this card into your support deck instead. Then we also are going to get a med kit. Roll 1 additional die when this character takes a medical skill test. Action. Take a medical skill test to pass this or an adjacent character that recovers 1 damage for each success or removes a condition token. So cool. So you get a bunch of other medical stuff. We have Kirk's throwing and Judo abilities, which are fun, and then we have a couple Spock cards. The only character on here that didn't seem like they really got any sort of like love in here was Chekhov. It didn't really seem like they had too much special for him to do. They based it on the other 3 characters. So maybe the side deck. No, this is the rest of the cards. That was the starter deck. So that was our starter. So maybe the rest of these cards will have some cards you can swap around. They'll give him a bonus. Or he just might not really get any. It's very possible. You only have 4 characters. You only do so much. Alright, so our first mission here is a logical explanation. Endgame, score this card at the end of the game if you have 5 or more illusion missions in your score area. And there's a bunch, so we can definitely get some of those. Amok Time. This character and Spock both beam away. Spock must not have activated this turn. Starting with Spock, both characters alternate attack actions using their base attack rating. The opponent rolls for Spock and rolls 2 additional attack dice and defense dice. When one character is neutralized, they fail and the other succeeds. So score 30 bonus points if scored in 1 round, and 15 if in round 2. So this is kind of an interesting card in general because it's in your deck, which is this character and Spock. So more than anything, this should be played if you're playing against Spock, not like if he's on your team. Because if I'm playing, I have Kirk on my team, I don't know why I would, why would I pull my Spock aside, hurt him, have to neutralize one of my characters? I guess either way, if I did it, I would score 30 or 15 points, I suppose, the bonus points. Plus, because they're both my characters, so I couldn't lose, and I could always use a sick or a medical card to heal them, but like that's really risky to be doing, right? Alright, we have Aberration. Taking action, taking an opposed diplomacy skill test at the command terminal on the bridge. The hostile character of your opponent's choice is the challenger. If you roll 2 or more successes, score this card. bonus. Your opponent must draw or discard cards and have the same number of support and mission cards as you. Con. Put con on a hostile character. Remove all tokens and restore all damage to the character. That character rolls 2 additional attack and defense rolls. Score. If scores card for the character with this card becomes incapacitated or neutralized by one of your characters. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Basically, you're essentially having someone become con, and then now you have to like defeat them, but they have harder attack and defense rolls. Now, if I'm correct, and I might be wrong on this, I believe these are the Klingons of the original series, which is obviously very different from like Worf and the other ones. Which is kind of interesting. Before your opponent rolls dice when their non-board character takes a skill test on a mission card, the opponent may choose to discard a card to make you discard this card. If they do not, they roll 2 additional skill dice and you score this card. Bonus 5 points for each success and your opponent rolls on the skill test. Position of Strength. Take the diplomacy skill test at a command terminal on the bridge. If you roll 2 or more successes, score those cards. Score 10 bonus points if your opponent has 2 or less support cards in their hand. Quick Reflexes. Score this card if an attack against one of your character causes no damage. We've seen that. The Spectre of the Gun. This character beams away. This character takes a security skill test and then immediately takes a science skill test. It succeeds a mission if they scored 4 or more between both tests. Steel Cloaking Device. Take a security skill test in Operation Terminal and Engineering with a character who is not in line of sight of any hostile characters unless incapacitated. If you roll 2 or more successes, score this card. And then Treat Survivors. Take a medical skill test at a medical terminal in the sickbay. If passed, score this card. Score 5 bonus points for each additional successes. So one of the things that's really interesting about this deck versus some of the other decks is there's not a lot of cards that are like, take this skill test at this area at this terminal in this area. Like lots of the other decks in between all the other factions even have a lot of cards that do it. It's like securing this or repairing this or accessing this. Like each one has their own flavor for it. This doesn't have a lot of those. So maybe if like this is a good way of like, hey, if you don't really like having to be in specific areas and trying to do specific tests like that, this might maybe be a deck for you because it doesn't have as many of those. We'll have to see what the other one has against that though. Alright, Diffusing the Situation. Play before opponent rolls dice when a hostile character takes an action. Friendly Federation character in line of sight of the attacker takes an opposed diplomacy skill test against them. If passed, the attack action is cancelled and the opposing player draws a card instead. So you see we're getting a lot more, in these side deck, I guess, cards, we're getting a lot more negotiation or diplomacy type stuff versus in the deck we had a lot more beaming away action stuff. So you can kind of like tailor your deck that direction a little bit more. Extremely Logical, we've seen before. He's Dead Jim, we've seen. Heated Negotiations. Play before dice are rolled for an opposing skill test. Both players may discard any number of cards to roll that number of additional dice, up to 6, because you can't have more than 6 dice. If after rolling 3 or more dice of either player are showing the same number at the end of the test, you may return this card to your hand. That's kind of cool. We have I'm a doctor, not an engineer. So you have 2 different cards with that phrase on it. Before rolling a dice for a skill test, any character giving backup adds 2 dice instead of 1. Improvise Weapon. Play when taking attack action using a melee weapon or their basic rating. Take a security skill test. If passed, this character rolls an additional attack dice for each success. Another Kirk Seduction. Another Medical Attention. Actually, no, I don't know if we've had this one yet in this set. Take a medical skill test. If passed, releases an adjacent character that recovers 1 damage for each success or removes a condition token. If this is near a sick base, shuffle the card to your support deck. Neural gas. Take a security skill test at any operations terminal. If passed, select the mission board. Each character, excluding Android board, on that board gains a stun token. Challenge. Any player may challenge a skill test at an operations terminal. So this is kind of neat, because it basically can hit an entire board and knock everybody out. That's pretty fun. Not a moon shuttle conductor. Play when a friendly character opposes a skill test. The skill test becomes unopposed. Instead, the character takes a medical skill test. If passed, this or an adjacent skill test, adjacent character either recovers 1 damage for each success or removes a stun token. I think the beginning of this should be, I'm a doctor, not a moon shuttle conductor. But that would have been too big to put on there. Organian intervention. Play before an opponent rolls dice when making an attack. The attack action is cancelled and the opponent gains a bonus action. It's kind of neat. It just shuts down their attack. Quick retort. Play when a hostile character ends a move action in line of sight of a friendly Federation character. Take the diplomacy skill test with a hostile character as a challenger. If passed, the hostile character must discard a support card. Risky negotiation. Play during an attack action targeting your character. Remove 1 attack dice showing 5 or 6. The opponent attacking may then discard 2 cards to remove 1 defense dice showing a 5 or 6. Interesting. So basically you can get rid of one of theirs, but then they have the option of possibly getting rid of one of yours. Cool. Sedation we've seen. Vulcan nerve pinch. You killed him. Disguises. Medkit. We have the tricorder. Effect. Roll 1 additional die when this character takes a science or security skill test. Interrupt. At the start of this character's activation, you may pick 1 support or mission card from your opponent's hand at random, look at that card, and then return it. It's kind of neat. And then we finally have the last card of this set. Is the Type 3 Phaser Rifle, which is really fun that we get an extra one. Upgrades to 2 dice and your team deal damage, but roll 1 less die for all diplomacy skill tests. So that's pretty cool. That is what we have for Captain Kirk, the Federation expansion. So some really cool stuff in there. You can either kind of go with the one mission, which is trying to do conflict missions, which are sure you're really trying to beam away and neutralize people. Or you can go the contact mission, which lots of them also are beam away, neutralizing people, but be a little bit more peaceful. But then they have attack cards, defense, or attacking cards with like Kirk stuff. And Bones has lots of medical stuff for healing. So depending on which one of those characters, if you want to play more of an aggressive or you want more healing, even combined, they're pretty good. Spock has some fun cards too with his Mind Meld and his Vulcan Nerve Pinch. Again, I think they kind of didn't really give Chekhov too much to do in there, although he does have science and security, so a lot of the tests do require those, so that's going to be very helpful as well. Alright, that's what we have for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Check out the other videos, including the Scotty one. See you guys later. Bye.